Hello and welcome to Radiance Revealed, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jen Haley. I'm a board-certified dermatologist, fitness enthusiast, nutrition expert, and global explorer that over the years has uncovered that your skin is a true representation of your internal health. Each week, we will chat with leading health, wellness, and even spiritual experts who will reveal secrets to true health and vitality. My goal is to help you change small habits to give you the power to create a more balanced, aligned, and elevated version of yourself. Now let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Radiance Revealed podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Jen Haley. And we are just about in the middle of winter in most places in the Northern Hemisphere. I live in Arizona, so it's not as harsh of a winter as where most of you who are listening are experiencing right now. And one of the biggest things that I hear all day, every day, is struggling with dry winter skin. Skin on the face is peeling, skin on the body's peeling. So in this episode, I want to discuss that. I want to give you 7 tips for radiant winter skin. So we're going to talk about that from the outside in and from the inside out. And I'm really into nature and observing the world because we can learn a lot from nature, right? So everything in nature cycles. The season cycle, the moon cycles, a woman's menstrual cycles. And even where you may live is going to have some sort of a variation. And our body's always trying to reach homeostasis with the outside environment. So what we may have done for our skin during the summer, during the fall, is not necessarily going to work in the winter. Likewise, what you did in your teens, 20s, 30s won't necessarily be working for you in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s and beyond. So we want to touch on all of these things. And these are guidelines. These are guidelines that can work for many people. But at the end of the day, it's important to check in with your body and intuitively know what your body needs because there's no recipe for everyone. So since our body's always trying to reach homeostasis with the outside environment, what happens in the winter is the humidity drops and there's harsh wind that could even strip the skin barrier more. But when the humidity drops, either in the environment or in our homes, when we turn the heat on and there's forced heat going on in the house, it lowers the humidity by 10, 20, 30%. And our skin being this amazing barrier that protects the inside of our body from the outside of our body will try to reach homeostasis and it will evaporate water with the outside environment and our skin will become dry and parched. So this is why we want to pay a little bit closer attention to what we're doing on a daily basis. And I've seen this effect. I've lived a lot of places. I've lived in the Northeast. I've lived in the mountains of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado and Utah. And I've lived in coastal California and Hawaii. And really, all of those places experience changes through the season, except for maybe Hawaii. We really have a very high humidity there, and it's a very stable environment for the most part with the humidity. But for most places around the world, we're really going to have to adjust what we do every season. And I will walk you through spring when spring comes and how we want to change our skin's needs at that time. So the first thing I want to talk about, we'll talk externally before we talk internally when it comes to the skin care changes that I want you to do. So the first thing is that it doesn't have to be a full-time job. So a lot of people think that, you really have to do a lot of work in order to make your skin look good. No, this is very easy. We don't have to do a lot. Little things over time make a big difference. I'm a huge believer in a compound effect. For example, if you have one extra chocolate chip cookie a day, that's 200 calories, that could be 20 pounds in a year. If you do air squats while you're cooking dinner or a couple push-ups or some lunges, you can gain quite a bit of muscle at the end of the year and lose some fat at the end of the year. Now, if you wear sunscreen to the high real estate areas, the high value areas that are exposed every single day to the sun, such as your face, neck, chest, back of your hands, typically, after a year, you're hundreds and hundreds of hours avoiding UV radiation. So little things make a big difference over time. And with your skincare routine, let's start with the shower. So, tip number one for radiant winter skin is going to be avoiding harsh soaps. So, ignore those commercials that show you somebody sudsing up all over their body to remove dirt. Number one, we don't make that much dirt. Water alone, lukewarm water alone, will remove sweat and dirt from the skin. It's only oily dirt that really needs and requires a harsh soap surfactant to remove it from the body. What happens when you see the bubbling reaction, the sudsing reaction, is that the surfactants in the soap molecule are binding with our natural lipids, our natural oils in our skin, and pulling them out. And we need those oils. Our skin is composed of a bilipid membrane, and we need those oils in our skin to maintain a healthy skin barrier to help protect the inside of our body from outside environmental toxins and infections. So, overuse of soap is the first mistake that I see people make. And what you really want to do instead of using a harsh soap is really just deliberately and intentionally apply a cleanser to the areas of our body that produce scent under the arms, the groin, and the feet. And the rest of the areas, water alone is enough, or whatever runoff comes from the soap, because we don't have many oil glands on the arms and the legs. So when you're using soap to those areas, you're pulling out all of the natural moisture, and you can get something called asteatotic eczema. And it kind of looks like fish scales actually on the skin, and it can lead to infections, cellulitis, all sorts of other problems. So the first step is actually doing less and using less soap. And really, what I like a non soap cleanser like Cetaphil or CeraVe. They make cleansers that are non foaming cleansers. And this is what I use to shave with. So these non foaming cleansers are actually even milder than many shaving creams out there, and they're safe to use as a cleanser. Now, if you're someone who's really dry, get a very inexpensive conditioner and use that to shave, because shaving with soap will go down the hair follicle and cause a lot of irritation to the skin, especially the lower legs. And the first sign of this I see in the clinic is I will see not only red, dry, scaly skin, but I'll also see around every hair follicle, it's really red. And this is because the irritation from this soap is going down the hair follicle and deeply irritating the skin. So, super easy. Just minimize soap use under arms, groin, feet. Water is enough for everywhere else. Now, for your face, in the summer months, in the spring, in the fall, you may have a more of a purifying cleanser, something that is removing more oil from the skin. And in the winter, you may have to switch over to a sensitive skin cleanser and use that instead, as long as it's getting off your makeup. So if it's not getting off your makeup, if it's not strong enough to get off your makeup, do a double cleanse. I love micellar water. The company Bioderma makes a beautiful one. Vichy makes a beautiful one. Those are probably my top two micellar waters. It's very inexpensive, and it's a great way to remove makeup, or you can use an oil to remove makeup. And then you use your gentle cleanser that's not going to strip your face of its natural oil. So your skin should not feel taut. It should not burn after you cleanse it. But you do need to cleanse your face because we need to get the dirt off. We need to get the dead skin cells off so that your products can also penetrate. Okay, so step number two, second tip for radiant winter skin is going to be to hydrate immediately after washing. So you want to hydrate, and by hydration, I mean apply a moisturizer. Excuse me. So the body, you're going to want to use a moisturizing cream for your body, not a lotion. Lotions often contain alcohol or not enough of an oil to actually hydrate and moisturize the skin. So I like a ceramide rich moisturizing cream and apply it head to toe to lock in the moisture. You really want to apply it when your skin has the a little bit of moistness on the skin right after you get out of the shower or the bath, and then just kind of lube up and seal it in head to toe. So once a day is usually enough, unless you're dealing with eczema. Right after you shower is going to be plenty. So fragrance free, because fragrances can be irritating, and who really wants extra chemicals on your skin if you don't need them? If you want to use an oil, like a natural oil. I love coconut oil and sunflower oil and jojoba oil. You can mix them together in like a 7-to-2-to-1 ratio for the body. You do not want to use coconut oil to your face or to your chest or back if you're prone to acne. Because coconut oil, while it is antimicrobial and has some beautiful properties, it can clog pores. So if you're someone who's prone to getting clogged pores and acne, don't apply coconut oil to those areas. But we rarely see a problem with that on the arms and the legs. And coconut oil mixed with jojoba, which is more expensive, that's why we use less of it, and sunflower oil, which can improve the natural skin barrier. It's been shown in studies to do that. These are a nice combination to apply if you're looking for an oil-based natural moisturizer. Otherwise, look for something that has ceramides in it, because ceramides can keep collagen and elastin, which are the protective molecules, the supportive structures in the skin. It protect them and keep them healthy. So the other thing is for your face, let's talk about moisturizers. So for your face, you may get away with maybe even no moisturizer in the summer because the humidity is high, and a serum and then an SPF is enough in your skincare routine. And at night, maybe you need a moisturizer. In the winter months, what happens is because it's so dry, you may have to bump that up to a different moisturizer, or you may need to be using your moisturizer twice a day instead of once a day. So, where do you put that in your skincare regimen? You cleanse first, probably skip the toner in the winter if you're dry. Then you're going to put your serum on, your vitamin C in the morning, your retinol at night. Maybe any targeted serum if you're dealing with acne or pigmentation, let that dry completely. And now you put your moisturizer on, then sunscreen in the morning, no sunscreen at night, obviously. So the moisturizer is going to be your last step to seal everything in, and the actives come first. So you can bump it up to a heavier moisturizer. But just say you're someone that's prone to acne, you're not going to want to use an oil-based moisturizer. You're going to want to maybe boost your moisturizer by adding hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid in a moisturizer can draw in 1,000 times its weight in water. Well, unless the humidity is 80% or higher in the atmosphere, it has no moisture to draw in. It's just going to be drawing in moisture from the deeper layers of your skin, which we don't want that, right? So, what I like to do with a hyaluronic acid moisturizer is spritz your face with a mineral water, such as La Roche-Posay, Aven, Vichy. Spray your face with a mineral water. These mineral waters have been shown to have prebiotic and probiotics in them to help balance out the microbiome of your skin. And while your skin is still moist, take your moisturizer with hyaluronic acid and apply it to your skin to lock in that water, lock in that hydration to help boost your natural skin barrier and hydration without clogging your pores, without leading to any pimples. Okay, so this will make your skin feel dewy and glowing without having it be greasy or break you out. Okay, step number 3, as far as improving your skin to be glowing in the winter, is going to be thinking about your diet from the inside out. Okay, I want you to consider adding fish oil. Check with your doctor first because it can thin out your blood. So there needs to be some checking regarding some things that you might be taking internally and your health overall. But healthy fats, fish oil, tocotrienols from vitamin E, these are all important things that are composed in the skin barrier itself, in your dermis, that help protect your skin, and in your epidermis as well, in the brick and mortar system of your skin. So fats are really essential to keep your skin barrier intact and give you healthy, vibrant, glowing skin that has nice elasticity. So I love, I'm not going to give a dosage because you need to check with your doctor, but I take about 2,000 milligrams a day of EPA and DHA, and also eat cold water fish like wild Alaskan salmon. I try to stay low on mercury with the fish, and I avoid farm raised fish as they often have a lot of chemicals and even dyes added. There are some beautiful regeneratively farmed fish. I get some from a place called Seatopia, where the fish are farmed, but they're fed proper food and they're grown in the ocean in a healthy environment. So it gets more and more complicated every year how to check for the sources of your food, but the sources of your food do matter quite a bit because everything that we eat and gets in our body is taken up by all of those cells in our body, and it's information that's given to our body to either turn genes on or turn genes off that are going to bring us to a healthier state or a more diseased state. So fish oil is great, avocado is great, olive oil is wonderful. These are all great. Um, Flax seeds, nuts can be beneficial as well. And what I don't want you to be eating is fried food, uh, corn oil, vegetable oil, soybean oil, canola oil. And most packages, if you go to the grocery store and you go to find food there, you're going to see that most dressings and marinades, they have soybean oil and they have canola oil because they're cheap. They're very, very cheap. So make your own with a high quality olive oil. You have to do a little bit of vetting on this because there are olive oil blends that are blended with canola oil and other problems. So it gets to be tricky out there. And I just want you to look for as many healthy oils as possible without getting orthorexia. Okay. Fourth tip is to reduce your sugar intake. Sugar is going to dehydrate your skin. And our bodies are so smart because our body will basically convert a processed carbohydrate into sugar very rapidly. So I don't know if you've seen, I've worn a continuous glucose monitor in the past, and I know many of you listening have as well. And it's really helpful information because I can see my blood glucose go up to 200 or 300 if I have rice or granola, even though there's not necessarily like sugar there. Well, granola, maybe yes, but my body processes it very quickly into sugar. And that glucose spike, that high glycemic load in the body, can really, really take a toll on the skin and all the other organs because we know the skin is representing all of our organs, right? So also, one glucose molecule holds onto three molecules of water. And that also it makes the skin appear very sallow and very dehydrated. So I find that when people are on low fat diets, they don't have good, healthy skin. Their skin looks very sallow and it just looks parched and dry. I've seen it year after year after year after 20 plus years of practicing medicine. So what do you eat? That's always the question. What do you eat? So look to eat as many real foods as possible. I mean, we're all going to have pasta. We're all going to have some rice, and that's fine. Just overwhelm it with vegetables and protein and healthy fats and have less carbohydrates so you don't get that huge load and that huge surge into your bloodstream that's going to take a toll on your skin. So really, I like to get most of my carbohydrates, unless I'm doing a ton of cardio. I like to get most of my carbohydrates from vegetables, and I don't really eat that much fruit. I believe that we're only meant to eat fruit in the summer because fruit is there to make us a little chubby so we could survive the winter. So I'm not a big believer in eating fruit in the winter. That's my personal thing based off of my genetics and how I feel with fruit. But fruit is not going to hurt most of you because there's fiber in it, and fiber will delay how quickly the glucose in the fruit gets to your bloodstream. Some fruits better than others, but if you can get a continuous glucose monitor and play with it, that's going to be great. It's going to be so great. Okay, tip number 5 is to move your body. You have to stay active because having a healthy blood flow is going to deliver nutrients and oxygen to your skin and remove all of the metabolic waste products and all of the toxins that your body is constantly processing. So, you really want to make sure you have a healthy blood flow through exercise, walking with friends, especially in the morning and the evening, and getting our eyes in the sunrise and the sunset. You can do any type of cardio you want. Weights is great. I love weights. And really anything that will move your body. I don't care. You can go do jumping jacks. I love jumping jacks actually, because I feel like jumping jacks improves the lymphatic flow in our body. And having healthy lymphatic flow is so essential for helping with bags under the eyes, helping to move fluid around, and just constantly flowing and diluting and cleansing. And we want to do this as much as possible. So, all we're doing here with all of these recommendations is basically giving our skin and our body the tools to operate the way it wants to operate. So, there's no tricks here. There's no, there's nothing that's going to go um, viral. It's more about little things that we can do all day that will bring us in the direction of supporting our body to take care of itself naturally. So we want to move. I don't care how you move, just move your body as much as you can all day long. Jumping jacks, air squats, go to the gym, do a class, do something fun. Don't add it to your life to have one more thing in your life that you have to do that you don't want to do. We have enough of that. So do something fun that's recess. Take up a new sport, play pickleball, go take a dance lesson. You don't have to be great at everything, just try it. And it keeps you young and vibrant when you try new things. So I'd love that for you. Okay, so there we go. And the other thing about exercise is sweating is one of the major ways that we detoxify our body. So we detoxify every time we expire through air exchange, when we urinate, when we defecate, when a woman has a menstrual cycle, and also through sweat. Especially, we remove a lot of heavy metals through sweat. So I love sweat because sweat will get rid of toxins through the body. Just remember, if you want to go back to the podcast episode on sauna and hormesis, when you sweat, you want to get that sweat off your body as quickly as possible. Even if you just do a quick rinse in the bathroom before you can go home and take a proper shower, but get the sweat off your body as soon as you sweat, because otherwise your body's going to reabsorb through your pores all of those toxins it just eliminated through sweat. So that's a big deal. Okay, and number 6, not sexy, but drink plenty of water. Dilution is a solution to pollution. So we want to have mineralized filtered water. I like reverse osmosis water with remineralization. And drink plenty of water because it will help to improve the lymphatics, help you detoxify and remove toxins from your body. We don't want sludgy lymphatics. We want nice flowing lymphatics through the body for all of the reasons I just mentioned. So think about it. If you have alcohol that's going to dehydrate you, every time you have coffee in the morning, make sure you drink plenty of water. So have mineralized water. I add humic and fulvic acid to my water in the morning before I have coffee, and get the water in first. And then things like soda, soft drinks, fruit drinks. I don't love these. I really don't. I'm human. I do drink them. I just don't love them. When I look at soft drinks or soda, basically what's happening is there's water in there. Yeah. But there's also artificial color, there's artificial flavor, there's all sorts of chemicals and artificial sugars and or real sugars in the soft drinks. And what's happening is it's taxing your body a lot, and it's adding toxins to your body a lot, especially in the liver. So the body has to spend a lot of energy to remove the artificial color, the artificial flavor, the fake sugars or the real sugars, just to get water. So guess what? It's not able to remove all of the other toxins our bodies are coming into contact every single day, living from off-gassing of furniture, from the environment that we live in. So your body can only do so much. So the less toxins you put in your body, the better it's going to be at removing the unavoidable toxins just by living and having a metabolism. So I don't love soft drinks. It's not the end of the world if you have one once in a while, but I wouldn't make it a staple in your diet because your body just wants water at the end of the day. So our interstitium, our lymphatics, they work better when they're properly hydrated. So we want to support our body to do that. Okay. And your skin and your waistline will thank you for it. And number 7, I touched on this earlier. This is huge. Don't forget your sunscreen. Even though it's winter and you feel like you're not getting enough sun and your eyes aren't getting enough sun, and when you're hearing this, you might be done with winter in your head. You still want to put sunscreen on every day, not only to protect from the UV radiation, but also to protect from windburn and uh, the harsh wind that can break down your skin barrier, especially if you're not wearing a moisturizer. So I do like people to wear an SPF 30 or higher containing zinc oxide. Just look at the label. Does it contain zinc oxide? Is it SPF 30 or higher? And then at that point, you determine how it feels on your skin. Often, the difference between different types of sunscreen and the price is the cosmetic elegance. How does it feel for you? And do you need something water resistant or not? So, I like to wear a tinted sunscreen that is water resistant every day because I'm usually sweating at some point and I don't like to wear a lot of makeup. So, I just put tinted sunscreen on because it works as a twofer. So if you don't need a flashlight outside, you're getting visible light and you're getting UV radiation. So unless it's pitch black, you're getting UV radiation. But if you're someone that struggles with pigmentation, even if you're inside every day, first of all, if you're next to a window, you're going to be getting UVA radiation. And then if you struggle with pigmentation, you're going to be getting visible light from above, blue light from your screens. And these lights can cause pigmentation as well. So look for your SPF 30 or higher with zinc oxide. If you deal with pigmentation issues, you're going to want to get a tinted sunscreen because the tinted sunscreen contains iron oxide, and iron oxide does a little bit of a better job helping protect from pigmentary resulted from UV, not UV, pigment resulting from visible light. So that's how you decide what you want. And more expensive doesn't mean better. Just find something that feels good on your skin that feels light. So at the end of the day, the only other thing I want to mention is olive oil because olive oil does come up a lot. And if you're someone who deals with dandruff or you have a scaly scalp or scaling on the folds of your nose or around the beard area in a man, you do not want to apply olive oil on these areas. This condition is called seborrheic dermatitis. And even though it looks like scaling, typically it's caused from an overgrowth of a yeast called Malassezia. And guess what? The Malassezia will feed off of olive oil. So I don't like olive oil on the skin. It's quite inflammatory. Study after study does show that it is inflammatory, and it ironically increases transepidermal water loss, which basically means it dries out the skin more. So it's inflammatory, causes redness, and increases water loss. So not a fan of that at all. Coconut oil, good for the body. Jojoba, good everywhere. Sunflower, pretty good everywhere as well. So those are some things you can look at doing. And just say that you are a woman who has mature skin, maybe 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you're doing all of these things. You're using an oil-based moisturizer. You are not overusing soap. You are, not using your toner that you might have used in the summertime. You're not really exfoliating very much, and you're still noticing dry skin. You actually, uh, ironically may need to exfoliate more. So what happens when we're young if you see me on YouTube, when I squeeze my cheek here, the bottom layer of the skin, deep in the layers of the skin, the bottom layer to get to the top layer takes about 28 days or a month. And as we get older, the stem cells in our skin, in the basal layer of our epidermis, these stem cells get a little lazy and they don't turn over in 28 days. They might take 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks to get from the bottom layer to the top layer. So we're not renewing our skin as quickly as we were when we were younger. So because we're not renewing our skin, there's nothing pushing off the dead skin cells. So what you might need to do is use a gentle exfoliant, maybe something with some enzymes, maybe an alpha hydroxy or beta hydroxy acid serum, alternating every other night with a retinol to gently lift off some of the dead skin cells. After you do that, you hydrate, because what happens is the dead skin cells on the top of the skin form almost an insulative barrier and nothing can penetrate. So we do need to loosen up those corneocytes and basically help them lift off. This sends signals below, which will stimulate the stem cells to produce fresh skin. But while they're being lifted off, you want to hydrate at the same time. So just keep that in mind if your skin isn't responding to the other 7 tips that we discussed. So basically, you have the power. You don't need to, reach for the physician every time you're dry or you don't even need to deal with this dry winter skin. Okay. There's things that you can do. All of these things are small little steps that you can do to make it through the winter, even here in Arizona, where the humidity is 10% right now in my house. I just checked. But these lifestyle decisions and the skincare routine, by just tweaking it a little bit with every season, is going to give you the skin that you want. So you deserve healthy skin. And that's it for this podcast. That's it for this episode. And if you have questions, keep sending them to me because they inspire me to realize what you all are struggling with out there and the information you need to become empowered to take care of yourself, which is my goal for you. And if you like this podcast and you think one of your friends can benefit from it, please share it with them. Also, I'd love a 5-star review and subscribe. And I will be more consistent with putting out episodes. I have some great guests coming on, and feel free to reach out anytime. I am here in service of you. Bye-bye for now. If you're enjoying the Radiance Revealed podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. And while you're at it, please give us a review, as that helps others to find this podcast. And if you want to connect with me, please visit my website, drjenhaley.com, or you can find me on Instagram at drjenhaley.
Hello, everyone. Just a friendly reminder that this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. The statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility made for statements made by guests. Neither this podcast nor any of the information contained within it are a substitute for care by a qualified medical professional. This podcast is provided with the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you are looking for help in your journey, please seek out a qualified medical practitioner.